So I wanted to show off. And I went out and I bought a BMW. 7 days later, I crashed it on the 10 freeway.
I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
Like, okay, with celebrities, right? You notice that, like, the P. Diddy situation.
Yeah. Like what's happening right now.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, with the tariff situation. So
Oh, man.
that's a really...
Tariffs. I love that word.
Yeah.
The tariffs.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah.
All right. What is going on, brother?
Man, you know, life.
Been a long time coming. It has been a long time coming. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Rashad. Good friend of mine. Very intelligent. Very insightful. We're going to learn so much, and he has so much to give. How you feeling?
I feel good, man. You know, it took a lot for me to want to you know, get on camera and do podcasts.
Yeah.
Try to have a discussion that we would now normally have in private on video, just because, you know, I'm more of the type of person I'm very private. So because of that, I think that's probably why I was more reserved. I don't really like to show my decisions and things like that, because I don't want to be, what's the word? I'm not trying to be like out there with how I go about things on the day-to-day basis,
Right.
And be controversial, or, you know,
Right.
little motives that come with starting to get out there on social media.
Right. Especially podcasting, because most podcasts that go viral, they go viral for a reason, because they talk about controversial stuff.
Yeah.
Which is like, that's not our motive, man. Every time I chat up with you, it's always building up.
Yeah.
It's always sharing information. It's always the opposite of gatekeeping.
Yeah.
Right. And we've talked about a lot of things. We've talked about a lot of things. We've shared books to read.
Yeah.
We'll
actually share probably a few, some of the ones that I read that changed the way I think and really pushed me to do better. I'll probably just, you know, name those and put the authors and
you remember those?
For the books?
Yeah.
Actually, there's two that I would really recommend. One of them is The Psychology of Money.
Psychology of Money?
Yes. Mm-hmm. And another one would be called, it's a psychological book. It's about neuroscience. It's called Switch on Your Brain. That one did it. It really challenged me to look at myself and stop looking at the world, you know.
Wow.
Look at myself and see, all right, well, the world mirrors, it's like a reflection of some of the things I do. I can see it in my behavior, the way things go out in my life.
Yeah.
As far as interactions with people and getting my desires.
Yeah.
Doing it with integrity, and also understanding what comes with wanting things. You know, there's just because you want something doesn't mean you deserve it or you need to have it right now.
Oh man, and the choice of words "want" is key.
Yeah.
Want versus need.
Yeah.
Yeah, me already dropping gems. Wanting. It's one of those things. I think we had this conversation before too, where we broke it down and we said, you know, sometimes chasing after that one thing that you think you need, but it's really a want, and the universe or God, based on you literally praying for it and pushing for it and asking for it, to a point where, man, the God that we have, like the ultimate, the highest power, right? He'd be like, okay, my child, you really, really want this thing. He will literally finance your foolishness. Why? Because he's always teaching.
Right.
So there's a story that I don't know if I ever told you. I did some stupid thing. I was younger, like super young, and I had a friend of mine that came to visit. You know, now I'm putting it out there, so it's all good. But that's what it's all about, right? Sharing our inner thoughts, just bringing it out to fruition and bringing it out to life. So out of my younger self, man, egotistical, I went out because I heard he was coming to town. So I wanted to show off. And I went out and I bought a BMW on a Saturday. Saturday is my day of worship, my chill day. I don't do anything. But I broke that law. I went and I bought it on a Saturday. Rashad, I kid you not. 7 days later, I crashed it on the 10 freeway. Nah. Boom. Man. So, and he came rushing back like, okay, the teaching moment that I was talking about. So I kind of pushed for this thing. And matter of fact, everything I think I have, I prayed for. Anything I pray for, anything I really desire in my heart, bro, I get through prayer. And then some of the things that I know I shouldn't have, you talked about deserve and want.
Right.
Those things I know I shouldn't have, I don't pray about it. I just go get it. And I'm always punished. Yeah, sometimes it's always instant. And just like that car, man, I bought a car to show off, and I showed off. 7 days later, I got a whooping because I crashed it and it was total. So that was lost. So.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know where to really start as far as learning lessons.
Yeah.
When I was doing things actually wrong in life, my mentality, things actually went right for me quick. But when I started doing things the right way, like, all right, I'm going to approach this with the maximum amount of integrity, things started going wrong. They started going left.
Yeah.
So I'm like, why is that? Why is it that when I try to do something the right way,
right,
it's challenged, or it's like I'm going against the grain versus when I just, all right, I can just do this way and get it quick. And,
right.
But I just realized it's like, you know what? It's not a race. Like, even with, social media and stuff, like, I guess the reason why I'm not active on social media, I told you that.
Right. Yeah.
Is because the comparisons, I feel like a lot of that stuff will start to get in your head.
It's a race.
Yeah, and not as much now. I can look at something and
be like, whatever.
But at first it was like, dang, why is this kid is 20, and I'm older than him, and I'm not where he is.
Right.
But then I really thought about it. I'm like, why am I thinking about this?
Right.
Like, I just ate food. It's people that haven't eaten food. It's people that they don't have clothes on their back. They don't have the ability to go get a job. So it's like, I got to start with the basics, you know what I mean? And just be thankful for that. And then the rest will come when I put in the work.
And the social media is a little stressful because those that chase the clout, you notice that you post a picture, they sit back and try to count how many people are liking the image that they put out. Yeah. So it's like idolizing self. Yeah. It's a disease.
I want to say that, like, compliments to me, not all compliments, but attention and all that stuff for me it's an illusion, because all these people, they, even if someone goes in here or whatever happens, if we do 1 million episodes, people can tell you all the great things about yourself that barely know you, or they can tell you bad things about yourself. But I think it's a little of an emotional thing that you're chasing when you get all that attention, because it doesn't mean much, right? It's like, I'll give you an example. Yeah. Like, okay, with celebrities, right? You notice that, like, the P. Diddy situation.
Yeah. Well, oh my God.
I ain't gonna go.
We gonna go there? All right.
But I just want to say, like, I think it's funny that a lot of people they were there for all the good times, right?
Yeah.
And now that he's in this predicament, everyone's hush-hush. It's quiet because it's not beneficial. It's not.
Right.
Publicist tells you, hey, look, this isn't good. Let's stay away from this right now. Let's go do some PR. Let's detach ourselves from his name like we were never around him. And I just think that to a lesser degree, that's how it is in life. When everything is good, that's when people are around. They want to extract resources from you. But when it's not the best, your situation looks really dire, that's when you'll notice, like, all right, and I think not to go on a ramble about it, but.
And we are here to ramble, bro.
Yeah.
We're letting it out.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, for me, I'm a regular guy. I'm not on here. I'm not going to sit here and act like hey, look, 6-figure multimillionaire. I could just tell you I'm a guy that likes information.
Right.
And I'm putting in the work. I am constantly busy. I do what I got to do. And I'm not doing it for, like, an audience.
Right.
There's no pat on the back. There's no comment section behind my work.
Competing with yourself.
Just every day, it's like, all right, well, what did I do yesterday? What didn't I do yesterday? And what did I do? And then I have my journal. I even brought it. In the journal.
I see you always with it, bro.
This journal right here, it says, the past can hurt, but the way I see it, you can either run from it or learn from it. Remember who you are. And I just thought that every time I pick that book up, I'll think about it. It's like, you know what? It can hurt thinking about some of the things of the daily day aspirations and why you're not there yet. But when you look back on how far you came, I think that's what contributes, like, you know what I'm saying?
So when you go back to the living for the clout, if you notice, I can't remember who said it, so I can quote him, give him credit. He said, if you live for their praise, you will die from their criticism.
Yeah.
Right. It's just like you're living for that. You post a video, you post a picture on Instagram, you're up all night counting who's liking it. And you have a whole lot of teenagers out there, going through depression because only 90 people hit likes because they have 1 million followers. So it makes no sense to them. Right.
I think it's a euphoria that comes about. I've, to a way lesser degree, I'm not 1 million followers, none of that. But when I was on social media, I would post something and I would wait and see, like, I want to see the reactions on this. I want to see how everybody reacts to this video, a little edgy or something. And it's a euphoria that comes about from that, doing that kind of stuff. And I just feel like you lack discernment on, there's an itch that you can't scratch because you're using social media, attention, I'm not here to judge or tell anybody they're doing anything wrong. That's another thing too I want to say on this video is I'm not here to tell you, hey, you're living life wrong.
Right.
I'm just a regular guy telling you that going down the path of being blind, not paying attention to little things you do, and I don't know if anyone reads the Bible, but watching, like you said, we're not trying to roar about that, but in the Bible, it says specifically men, it talks about being thorough.
Man.
And I just found that important that when I'm thorough, things could still go wrong.
Right.
But I noticed that it's definitely more of a balance. That's why you pray. You could do everything right and something could still go wrong.
Right.
So, that's something that I always paid attention to. And if you can look back and, also looking back at like your past, things that you didn't know, you might not know that it affects you because you want to pretend you want to like have this type of shell. Like,
got it all figured out.
Yeah. So I think looking back and trying to really figure yourself out, try to really learn yourself.
Yeah.
What don't I like, because it's fine to not like things. I'll give you an example. Like we go on this and you're like, hey, let's talk about, I don't know, something that has nothing to do with nothing.
Right.
And you'll pay me $5,000. You can keep the $5. I don't want the money. I just really don't value money to that degree because I learned myself. My value system is not based off of just money. It's a plethora of things. It's structure.
Right.
Structure is that's the key word I want everyone to take from what I'm saying is just structure.
Structure. And structure, again, points back to the words you just talked about earlier, integrity.
Yeah.
Right. Integrity, integrity is actually something that's solid, like, because you can compare a rock and an iceberg. And you ask the question, which one has integrity, right? You pick the rock. And that's exactly what God says, upon this rock, I'll build my church, because it's talking about the rock, integrity, something that's put together. Because a lot of people think that when you're trying to really discuss or share facts on what integrity means, they always turn it to trustworthiness, faithfulness and truthfulness and all that stuff. But it means something that is solid. That's why you can say a building lacks structure because it doesn't have integrity. That's why you say a building has no integrity. But when it comes to human beings, right, it's that are you solid in yourself? Are you put together? Do you know who, like you said in your book, do you know who you are? Or rather, did you say know who you are?
Or did you even know who you are? Do you know yourself?
That part.
You know what I mean? And not to cut you off. But
no, it's integrity. Add on, yeah.
Yeah, I just want to say that like I'm not perfect. I'm human. So we can go off camera 3 days from now. Something can happen.
Yeah.
I need to go process it and because I'm human. I'm human, so I'm gonna have emotions. So I realized that not being emotional and being too emotional you're gonna be stagnant or you're gonna decline. The only way for it to work, in my opinion, would to be a balance. If something happens that upsets you, don't pretend it doesn't upset you. Don't go to a club and get drunk and still pretend like it doesn't upset you. Don't go overly be psychosexual. Don't do all the things that are just going to deteriorate you.
Right.
Because you're going to pay. Yeah, you're going to pay in the long run.
Yeah.
And what I would say is process that. And then, you know, if you have guilty pleasures that aren't too bad, something positive or something that just, you know, like a little ice cream or whatever, watch a football game, just whatever it is you do, walk on the beach.
Yeah.
And then come back to whatever it was and think about it. I think you'll be more rational versus like, hey, this is making me mad. I need to go handle this right now. So,
oh man, that,
you know, myself,
yeah.
I think it's just that I'm the type of person that's willing to learn. You know, when I go into school, it has taught me a lot. I know a lot of people talk about, you know, college is a waste of money and all that, but it has taught me a lot because it taught me a lot with basic things that I know. Like, you know, when I read about natural selection out, the ones that have the most traits will produce and pass on those traits, and those ones will survive. And I think that was something that I see a lot of people lacking, and that's why they're sinking. They're not. You got people that are floating, people that are sinking, and people that are they're cruising up there. They're on the water. They're on top of. They're on yachts.
So DIYs, the autodidactos think they have it under control. Those that survive are those that have learned the fundamentals, like the real structure of how things work.
Right.
There's processes for a reason.
Right.
Now that's a segue to because when you talk about patience, you talk about knowing yourself and being calm at all times, avoiding being emotional.
Yeah.
Brings us to this topic of money. Okay. Another topic that you're passionate about.
Oh, yeah.
You know, passionate in an equipoise way without being emotional. We talk about this a lot. Like the current events, like what's happening right now.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah, with the tariff situation. So
man,
that's a really
tariffs. I love that word.
Yeah,
the tariffs.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah, honestly.
Oh man, we said that guy.
When it comes to that, it's like it's kind of funny. It's like a lot of people will listen to the things he says, right, and be like, and then he'll do it, and then they get upset still.
Right.
And I think,
but he told you.
Yeah, he told you, and that's what, like, for me. You know, you may disagree or you agree, it's fine. I'm not here to like be political or I'm just telling you that I'm just following history. I read the history of why was a tariff used? Right. When did tariffs start?
Right.
How did, you know, and reading about how the country was built on tariffs. There was a lot of, from Baltimore with Hamilton, one of the people who found this country, the founding fathers.
Actually, it goes back to the Romans.
Yeah.
They're the ones that actually came out with them tariffs.
But just specifically here
in America,
I'm speaking on is how tariffs, what are they used for?
Right on.
And
speak on that.
You know, the tariffs basically it's a way of levying and building the economic, I want to say the government's funding and spending.
Right on.
They want to be able to bring in more money, right? So let's say you have taxes, you have interest rates, you have inflation, all these different things, these words. What do they mean? Like inflation, the CPI, Consumer Price Index, and all those things. That raises inflation. Actually, you can Google this. You guys can fact check me if I'm wrong. If I'm lying or I'm wrong, I'm not a know-it-all. So
we're just having a conversation. We're just, you know what I mean?
Read. So with inflation, it actually does have proof of a strong economy. Because that means there's a lot of money being spent, which produces consumers. There's a lot of consumption going on, right? A lot of consumers are buying a lot of products, a lot of imports coming in.
Right on.
So that means that basically there's more money being shuffled around.
All right.
So, you know, if you know anything about commerce, you know anything about supply and demand.
Yep.
If you have 2 muffins and there's 5 people right here,
demand is high.
The demand is high. And that's basically to a lot lesser degree of how the market works.
Right.
You know what I mean? These but it's
a principle of scarcity, right?
Yeah, of scarcity. And with China, they can control their own what they'll do is they'll pump and dump a bunch of money into a certain stock so that stock won't fall, like Alibaba. You can look that up. Alibaba, they put a bunch of money. They wanted Alibaba to be successful.
Yeah.
It was.
Right.
But the problem was Alibaba, Etsy, you know, TikTok, a lot of them, most of their consumers are in America.
Right.
So they're in a conundrum. That's why China, they're in a conundrum right now.
They're panicking.
Tariffs. Yeah.
They're panicking.
Yeah. So, you know, and I think his goal is to bring American companies back to America.
And I support that.
Right. But see, the thing is you saying that sounds crazy.
I know.
To a person, because they're like, this man is
exactly. So
not,
I get
that's what I'm saying about emotions.
Emotions, yeah.
Emotions are illusion, because if I tell you to go right and don't go left, there are animals over there. They'll eat you. But you don't like me because,
I don't like him.
Yeah, you said that something that just was that just hurt your feelings.
Right.
I'm going left. I'm not listening to this guy. Or if I do go right, it's not because he told me.
Right.
Because your emotion is like, okay, why are we looking at it like that? You know what I mean? And that's what I'm saying about it. All ties back into psychology.
Right.
You got to stop getting so mad about this stuff. Clearly, you're not just mad at him. You have personal issues that you are probably something else bothering. The fact that you go look at a TV, right, and you could just watch it.
Yeah.
Get upset and be mad now. You're mad because you just seen something on TV that has something to do with you, but what can you do about it?
And social media, man. Again, it points back to all these things.
Yeah, because like some person will get on a camera or somebody does something like this and they're, this, and they get roaring and they get to doing all that stuff. And then we consume it and, gaslighting and get into gaslighting. But a lot of people use that word gaslighting, but that word was using scientific studies and stuff to understand basically like what is it in psychology? I forgot the word for it, but it's like hypnosis type of thing going on. So
again, back to illusion and delusion.
Yeah, and we push it and then we repost it, and this is why it's like, what am I doing? Like you'll watch all that stuff for like 15 minutes, and then you'll look and you'll be like, what am I doing? This is 15 minutes I can't get back. Being angry at
swipe up.
Exactly. That's why I was like, you know what? Why not just take this time to go walk at the beach or just, I don't know, do something for myself.
Learn.
Or my grandma or whoever. Someone that, read a book. You know what I mean? And journal. I just journal every day. And these are not my life rules. I'm not telling anyone what to do, but I'm saying that it worked for me.
Yeah.
And I was a pretty lost person as far as like just, I didn't care about much. So.
Right. But you found yourself.
Still finding myself, still learning, still going through things. And
bringing it back to the tariffs again. So one of the things that a lot of people seem to be missing the point about what Trump is trying to do or what he's been talking about, because he's been talking about this a long time.
Yeah.
His first presidency, he pushed the tariffs. Tariffs, his favorite word, whatever, right? We make fun of him. But you'll notice that when you travel a lot, all, if not most countries, if not all countries, bro, like they have tariffs on everyone else, right? Because tariffs is what? That's like taxes on a macro level, right? On a global economy. So that's how countries make their money. But watch this. They use the stage of America. The United States is like the boxing ring that hosts everybody else on a global trade stage. But what's America making out of it? What's it getting out of it? Nothing.
Right. I mean, and I think that's why I get why someone would look at Trump like, shut up, because it's like, we know what America has done to get where it's gone and what you guys have screwed over and how you guys have done things. Looking at it from a sensical perspective, not just like, hey, look, I just don't want to believe anything. There's two things can be true sometimes, and I believe that's what it is. And as far as that, he wants the interest rates cut, but not all the time interest rates will be cut. Especially when inflation, you might have to raise interest rates,
right? To offset,
influence people to stop consuming, to stop purchasing. And once that happens, that's like a recession. Of a recession, we stop. The money's there. Things are going high. People aren't hiring. There aren't any jobs available.
Right.
So, just because you put a tariff, it doesn't mean interest rates will cut. I mean, I'll give you an example. Like in 2019, there was a trade war with China, and they cut interest rates 3 times.
Right before COVID, yeah.
Yeah, but inflation still somehow went up, right?
Right.
We still had inflation. Inflation has been going on for 20, 40 years.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where it's a nuance to it. It's a really tricky system. I mean, in general, the Articles of Confederation gave Congress, they gave them the power to print money. They could print as much money as they needed, and inflation went up like 60%.
Of course. I mean, the more you print, the more inflation you get hit with.
Because the original system was based off of precious materials and minerals. That's what the whole economic and globalist scale, as far as what commerce and things of that nature. That's what it was based upon. But once you change it to gold and you do the things that was done, it kind of changed things. If there's a book, actually, I won't just read it. I can't
drop another book. Yeah.
The Creature of Jekyll Island. You gotta, if you guys don't listen to anything I say, just go read the book. It'll tell you things to where you're like, okay, dang.
Yeah. Sharpen your mind a little bit.
Yeah. It'll make you, okay, this whole system is rigged. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that to sound controversial or just a blank statement. That is a fact. You can look at from the bottom, the history, all the way to who's winning.
Yeah.
The committee, reserve bank presidents, the basically the people that run the Fed that set interest rates. Who are the ones that benefit from it? We can't vote on interest rates.
Right. Isn't that fun?
On the Fed, who's the Secretary of Treasury, we have no say-so on that.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but yet they make decisions that affect us.
Yes.
On a financial point.
And the two groups, it's called the Open Market Committee and the Bank Reserve Presidents. Those are the ones that they get together and they do interest rates and they of that nature. And basically, if inflation keeps going, like I'm younger, so I won't get Social Security, Medicaid, none of that, because they borrow from it to pay back the bonds that they bought from China. It's a bond is like, hey, this is a promissory that we're going to pay you back.
Collateral.
Yeah, we're going to pay you back and we're going to put interest on it. Then we're going to go borrow from Social Security to pay it back. Then we have to pay ourselves after we pay that.
That part.
So it's like, okay, that's kind of retarded. I think I seen a quote from Warren Buffett. He was like, any sitting member of Congress, when you're in as a member, if inflation or anything increases 3%, you no longer can be a part of Congress. Nothing government related as far as spending, as far as setting the debt ceiling. That's why our trade deficit is so high with China. It's ridiculous.
We owe them.
Yeah, it's like, it's hilarious. You would think like, dang, you guys owe them. Why are you putting all them tariffs? That's why, because you owe them so much money. It's like, all right, we can't keep giving you interest.
Absolutely.
When we owe you money. It's just, that doesn't make any sense. If I keep coming to your house and you buy something from me, my house, and then my imports to your house, you're throwing stuff on it. And it's like, all right, well.
Look at it, not to cut you off. Think about it this way. Again, I'll bring back travel, and you go to certain countries, you'll notice that they're, like, for example, you go to England. I barely saw a Ford. I think a friend of mine, shout out to Keith, in London. Barely. You see an American car there. It's nothing but Bentleys, Renaults, Peugeots, just European cars.
Yeah.
You come to the U.S.
Mercedes.
Where's that from? Germany.
Yeah.
You have, we even have Bentleys.
I'll give you an example. Harley Davidson.
Toyota, Suzuki.
Harley Davidson. This was like sometime in the 90s. You have to look it up to get the specific information, but Harley Davidson had 100% of the market share for motorcycles.
Interesting.
Kawasaki, Honda. Do those sound like American companies?
No, they're not.
Honda, Yamaha, they came in and they just made good, it was good motorcycles. They were great. They faster. People are going to want what they want. So when they do that, they took over most of the market share. So that's when Harley was putting pressure on the government. Hey, we got to do something about this. They're taking over the market share. So they put tariffs on them and they bounced back. And I think they got back to like 90% of the market share for that. So
this war, a lot of people are panicking out there, thinking about artificial intelligence going to replace their jobs, machines and automation is going to take over. And I'm like, this is a time where we have to pivot.
Yeah.
Pivot, diversification, learn a new trade. Like whatever it is you're good at, whatever it is that you do, it's the part where you maintain that, but learn a new skill so that, because coding is not going anywhere. Matter of fact, they're starting to introduce like cybersecurity, coding.
Yeah.
In schools, high schools.
Right.
You have to wait till you get to college, not too long ago.
But not to cut you off on that, but even colleges, there are plenty of places where you can get into and you don't need a degree. You don't have to spend all that money. They're just people with skills. They just have the skills to pay the bills. So.
And that's where AI is at. There's a lot of people who have master's degrees, PhDs, not getting jobs. Why? Because they're searching for folks who have certifications.
Yeah,
Boot camps.
Even like what you get your degree into, you know what I mean? Like, I think with or without automation, I mean, if you get your degree in something like just randomly, like, I seen one that was called like artistical city planning. You know, that sounds cool on paper, but what are you gonna do? You know, if a city's already built,
I know.
You go build, like, you know what I mean? So I was like, all right, well, there are clearly things that the college are just getting money from you.
Yeah.
And that's what I was gonna say too about that. It's like, how many people, let's say hypothetically what you're saying is true and what I'm saying is true.
Yeah.
How many people want to go do coding and stuff? You know, a lot of people, and then even,
I'm in the learning curve. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I think the digital world is growing. I mean, editing, doing things of that nature, those little skills, shooting videos, cinematography. I know that's going to AI.
It's content creating.
Yeah. But, you know, there will always be, in my opinion, there will always be something out there that you can do. It's just, you have to go back to childlike ways and using your imagination. Get it, like, just, you know, using your imagination. When we get older and we get stuck.
That's exactly how Elon Musk got successful with his creation. He literally quoted, he said he was inspired by Kanye West. I know. It's like neither here or there. But if you notice the similarities between those two, they're not afraid to imagine. Like him or not like him. Facts of facts. When it comes to creativity, they create.
You know, I don't really have an opinion on, like, I don't really care to be be honest with you. I don't really care as much. Not saying I don't care about your point. It's a good.
No. We here. I'm talking.
Yeah. I don't really care about what I really don't care about that. You know what I mean?
I got you.
I don't like him. It's like,
yeah.
I don't know.
Right.
Maybe not. I don't know. I don't really have an opinion. But I could just tell you as a normal person, it's like, yeah, you just have to, like what we're doing, just take the time to think about things, like read things, try stuff, you know, so you never know. Like, but one thing I noticed is that you get in a flow state when you really practice and repetition and you try things and you talk to people.
Repeat.
You talk to someone and you go in with good faith conversation, which is I'm coming to receive some form of information that I could use.
Right.
Or I can deny the information. I don't have to like
that part
information, but you can always.
But you've been afforded the chance to make a decision on the information that you've
exactly.
been given.
Exactly. So on to that degree, I would say it's like you should stop worrying so much. I mean, it's just people worry about some of the news. That's why I laugh at the news.
I don't watch the news.
I don't watch it. When I would see it. The times I would see it, whether I'm going in like a Starbucks or, I mean, not a Starbucks, when I'm going in like I'll go into, one time I went in the laundromat.
Yeah.
When I went into the laundromat, they're playing the news. Oh, you know, fears are growing that something happened. And then they just turn to something else. Oh, a little Girl Scout cookies are doing, I'm like, okay, so where's the solution?
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
I like that. I like
pharmaceutical industry, and just, there's a lot of things where it's like you push stress, you push trauma on people, and then their blood pressure's up. They go to pharmaceuticals. Pharmaceuticals get paid.
The system that you just talked about.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying about like the American Heart Association. They just approved a bill where food stamps, like I was telling you the other day, food stamps, you can now use it to buy like trans fat foods and all that. They're literally the American Heart Association. Their job is to make sure that people
are healthy,
are taking care of their heart.
Right.
And now you can go buy a Snickers bar and Doritos with it. And that's what I'm saying about AI. It's like people say, oh, well, AI can corrupt. That's what people do when they get money and they can get billions of dollars.
Right.
That is just the way of a person. You know what I mean?
Well, AI cannot even corrupt. It's the corruption that a person puts in it. Like so already say,
basically this
programming.
It's a program. That since Greece, Rome, everything is just genuine, just greed and capitalism. And that's why I don't get involved in politics too much, because it's like, it's always going to be the same thing. It's money, capitalism.
Yeah, me, and me.
Yeah. So people get so passionate, like, oh, I'm a Democrat or I'm an American. I'm like, good for you. I'm not none of those things.
What about you and your family? You know what I mean? That's what it boils down to.
Yeah.
Just like I told you before, like I know I talk about this a lot, even when it comes down to organizations and companies that people work for. You see what I'm saying? Like even me saying work for, it sounds wrong with my soul.
Yeah.
I utter words like I work for my family and I'm in partnership with a company.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
so that that ego is out, because there's that domination that is happening out there. I am better than you. I employ you.
I let someone think they're better than me. Like, I'm very like, that's the thing about silence is you don't have to explain certain things. You can just be quiet. Learning to be quiet is important. I will have used to be a big talker, but the only person I really talk like this with, I mean, with the conversations we have,
Yeah.
but, it's been a while since we've seen each other.
Yeah, man.
But my girl, I talk to her and we and her get in depth like this. We talk.
Isn't that beautiful though?
But just other people, like, I'll give you an example. Like, let's say I'm at a job. You have
Yeah.
a manager. He's
Yeah.
like, this kid, I don't know, he just works here. He's just a kid. What do you know? You're a kid.
Judgment.
Yeah. So it's like having the confidence to be like, I don't have to prove anything to him. I mean, that's in me. I create my own reality. So if you call me like, hey, you're a stupid idiot or you're a dumbass, and I'm like, I can take that how I want to take it. You know what I mean? If you decide to get upset, that's a choice. If someone decides to disagree with what I'm saying and go comment like, hey,
It is what it is.
this guy doesn't know what he's talking about, like, tell him to get up, whatever.
But you're expressing your experience
Right.
in this realm.
Right. And
which we're all here to
everyone
express
feels-
ourselves. Yeah.
whoever feels the way they feel about it, it's not gonna change what I'm doing. It doesn't matter. That's what I'm saying. Having humility and confidence and learning how to be silent. Like, just,
But the beauty of it,
you don't need to, like, all that show. You don't need to do it. Why are
That
you doing
part.
that? You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
What is it in you that's fragile like that? Why, I feel like you're
it's a
overcompensating.
deficit. Yeah.
Yeah,
You
so
are
it's-
you are crying out and you need help, right? To a point where you're being extra.
Yeah.
It's real.
I mean,
It's real.
like, a day in the life of me is like, I'll work again, then I'll hit the gym, then I'll day trade, then I tutor,
Right.
then I go to sleep. So there's not much time throughout that whole of doing all those things for much else. So when you know that and you have it in your heart, you're working hard. You don't need to show money. You don't need to show anything.
Right on.
You know what I mean? As long as God know and I know where my heart is at, I'm not here to try to please or show anyone anything. I'm not.
Oh yeah, you learn hard. I learned the hard way.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful thing to learn when you're young too, because you don't have to repeat it.
Yeah.
And then most of the time, the idea that when you're going through tumultuous times, most of the time you have to learn from whatever it is that you're doing at this point in time. And it happens so often, man, to where it's like, why am I struggling with this one little thing? It's like, you need to learn. So if it's the deficit that you have, that little ego inside of you that says, I'm gonna wear the loudest jewelry out there so everybody can see that I'm making money. I'm gonna drive the flashiest car.
Yeah.
And I'll make everybody know, put some boosters in there, or, so when I'm coming out around the corner, everybody needs to know I'm coming. It's like, what are you lacking? That's how I look at it, bro. Like, I feel bad.
Knowledge is mundane to people because, if you're, it's really genius if you're a person that's running social media, these networks, what they're looking into, they study psychology. That's what they do, right?
Right.
So they're looking at what does the human mind like to do, what entertains it.
Mm.
We know that people have problems.
Mhm.
So the best thing that you can do is pay the people. That's why mostly controversial, stupid things are the things that usually are thrown out there
And they go viral.
throughout social media, whether specific, like, different the entertainment industry. Certain individuals will make it and certain won't.
Yeah.
Because if you talk, you don't talk the way this person talks.
Yeah.
But it is, once you have influence and you can influence people, you can, hey, look at me, and you're just a big dancing monkey. Look, you're a distraction. There's a bunch of problems over there. Look at me though. It's like kids. It's really on a kid level. When you have kids, when you're trying to, like, if you do a photo shoot,
Yeah.
you have the child and the photographer will play with the kid
Yeah.
to get them to smile.
A little carrot.
That's adults on a more
Man. Yeah.
on a more specific level. It's on a more psychological level. It's, hey, look, I'm gonna say something on social media and act stupid, and then look at me while there's real things going on.
Wow.
And the real people that got real stuff to say, they on the back burner. You're not getting no advertisements. You're not getting no.
Yeah.
The algorithm, none of that.
Real talk won't get any. No, it's so good. Real talk like this doesn't go far.
Yeah. Then now you got reaction videos of people like
Yeah.
reacting to some kind of like those balloon pop videos. Like, you pop the balloon and then 6 high value man reacts. It's just it's a bunch of things that's like, okay, so what did I get from this?
Right.
When I
At
started,
the end of the day,
before I clicked on it, what did I see? And then after it, okay, what did I learn?
life
That is
lost.
the most valuable resource is time.
Life lost.
Yeah, now you can't get that back.
Actually, you just paid them
Yeah.
because that's how they get paid.
The time though, it's like that's the thing about it's time. I would plead everyone just don't waste your time. Like
Yeah, man.
it doesn't you can't like you can't you can't really directly say, hey, this specific thing, you can't specify what's a waste of time to a certain degree.
Right.
But you
It's
can
priorities.
generalize.
Yeah.
You can generalize what a problem is. I mean, what a waste of time looks like.
To me, I think investing in happiness, man. If you're happy, whatever time you spend in your happiness, I'm not talking about just temporary pleasures, microwave pleasures. Like if you're happy doing what you're doing, you're not hurting anyone, you're living a life. That's what life is all about. That's what life is all about.
You know what? Yeah, I mean, the way I see it is the emotion happiness is like it's like an adjective, it's describing a feeling or whatever,
Mhm.
but it's not like something that it can be like something you can consistently be. Just like that's why it's discipline. Discipline is one thing I find more useful
Mm.
with structure,
Uh-huh.
structure and discipline, rather because happiness it could be a wave. Like, oh, I had ice cream with the family today, and then I had an argument with my boss yesterday. You're all over the place with your emotions, highs and lows.
Yeah.
Versus like just a more of a cruise autopilot control, like which is you're not upset, you're just rational and you're disciplined. Like, okay, although I'm upset,
Yeah.
that does not mean I could be a little sleepy too right now. So that's why I yelled and did this. That's why,
Right.
times when
A little grumpy.
yeah, like, I'll give you times when I did a midterm and I got a low score. I mean, well, some people look at me, oh, it's not a low score, but I got like a 78%.
Yeah.
For me, it's a low score. So I'm driving, I'm upset. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just like, I'm hot, I'm fuming. And then I'm thinking about it. Am I just that upset or am I a little tired? I didn't eat. I've been studying all day. This is a combination of things. So let me just hit it tomorrow and let me think on it and see how I feel when I sleep, take a jog. Let me see how I feel tomorrow. And if I still feel that way and I still feel that itch, I need to delve in deeper now. I need to dissect this.
Right.
So that's why I say like,
How many people know that process though? Because it's a process.
no, it definitely
Mastering
it's
the
trial
stuff.
and error. It's repetition. You're gonna
Yeah.
do it and you're gonna keep doing it. I'm still doing it. I have not figured out life at all. I'm like 25%.
But let's talk about that though. Because I mean, every time we have a conversation, it's always enlightening
Yeah.
both ways. Trust me. What got you to that point? Like the type of person that you are, consistently chasing after who you are, or I have a feeling you can see who you are or who you will be in the now, and you're already living it like now. What
Honestly,
got you there?
it was just paying attention. Like seeing the ramifications of things that I did right or right. And just on a grant, it wasn't like a momentary, this thing changed me and now I just directly, nah, it was a combination of just reflection. Like, all right, I'm clearly like, I'm doing a lot of the way I eat, the way I sleep, the way I live my life.
At what point in your life did that light bulb go off?
It's
Like, can you track? Is this your character? Like, I mean,
no, not at all. Like, of course, this is morally who I am.
Yeah.
But on the surface level at first, no, not at all. I was like immature, like 2019 actually. To be honest, not that long ago.
Not long ago. Okay.
Very immature, like just impulsive. I was very impulsive. Like the way I feel right now is how I'm gonna react. So right now, if I feel like I want to get up, even though it's not financially smart or anything, I'm just gonna drive to Vegas and just go walk the strip and take pictures.
Yeah.
That
was you.
around. Yeah, that was me. Just not thinking. It's like, all right, so where do you see yourself? Like, where do you see yourself tomorrow in the morning? And yeah, it's really hard to say. I think it was just a course of act. It was just a point where I just decided, like, okay, I want to do better. Like, it was really a turning point where I'm like, okay, I'm getting older, and life is like I'm not seeing it. Because when I was young as a kid, I always envisioned myself being like somewhere where I could like, man, I'm living good life.
Yeah.
So now I had a moment where I was like, it was all about the financial at first, but now I'm realizing it's structure. It's like a discipline thing. At first, it was just me trying to get money. I had a trucking business, actually.
Okay.
So I had a trucking business. I had got a contract. Everything went well. It was going well. And then while I invested a lot of money into that business, so into the whole process, paying for my the cargo insurance, the whole nine.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of profit.
Yeah, a lot of money. So I broke the bank and I was like, I'm not gonna pay my car insurance. I'm gonna take the money and I'm gonna put it into my business. Did that. I got hit. I got in an accident.
Wow, the timing.
Yeah, got in an accident. And I got a letter from the DMV. We're gonna take your license for 5 years.
Man.
So that's when I realized I'm like, during that process, I was poor, just broke, just I had to go back and move with my grandma.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just thought about it. I'm like, I need to figure something out because I feel pretty stressed out right now. I don't have any money. I'm not used to this. So I started doing a lot of reading. I just sat in the bed and just did a lot of reading, just reading and learning about health and wellness. And I was like, okay, I feel good. Even though I don't have money in my pocket.
Yeah.
Why do I feel good? I don't have any money.
Self-actualization.
So then I realized I'm like, all right, it's bigger than money with life. It's bigger than it's about like inspiration. It's about leaving a mark.
That part.
I don't know. I just don't really care about like the quick fixes. Like, hey, this could go viral right now and someone can send me an offer and send it to you and you text me and be like, I don't know. I got to think about it. I really do because I'm not sure how comfortable I am giving up my privacy.
Right. I know. Yeah.
Who I am for some money and for
that part.
A bunch of stuff that's not real. A bunch of people that will tell me things when it's good and when it's bad. Hey, you're stupid. You're an idiot. And that's what comes to territory. You got to be held accountable when you do things wrong. But I just think it's an illusion.
I got you. And when you spoke about grandma, you touched a nerve because I remember running into you and we're just talking, man. We're just talking and we talked about grandma. And I was like, yeah, my grandma's not feeling too good. And you're like, go see her.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that.
Bro. And if I tell you I should have acted on that, it's one of those things I regret. And I don't mean to end this cast in a more down way, but I mean, you brought grandma and I was like, oh man, I remember you because we just talked about it and I was like, yo, there has to be a reason why you brought this up.
Yeah.
I gotta go. And you're like, yeah, man, you gotta go. A month later, she passed.
Wow.
A month later, she passed, bro. Like, and that gutted me. That hurt.
After we had I didn't even.
After I told you, yeah, and I never told you that I didn't go see her as we were talking, and then I had to go bury her basically. So that kind of that jacked me up.
Hear about that?
Life, man, life is like that. And these are the pillars of my life that shape who I am today. My grandma and my granddad, both of them are gone. But here we are. So when I'm saying, for me, what shaped my moral compass and what made me the stand-up guy I am, the integrity that I have inside of me is through those people, my grandparents.
Yeah.
And it happens like that.
Yeah.
And I'm passing that on to my legacy, the next generation and so forth. That's why
it's important.
When it comes to sharing information, we're not gatekeepers.
Nah.
And you're not like that as well. So that's why whenever I open up, you open wide open. You know what I mean? And you were putting me on game about some of the stocks that are lit right now. You know what I'm saying? And
the amount that was made,
yeah,
with the little moves. Yeah. I mean, just to touch on what you said, I think I kind of looked at it like, all right, this is an opportunity for me to learn about myself because it's a lot of pressure. Like, all right, I gotta do something, and there's no excuses because now I'm aware. I know.
Yeah.
I'm not living in like a fairy tale. I feel like I'm in tune with myself. So now that you're in tune with yourself, it's even harder because you can't go back to certain things.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, all right, now I got to look at it like a challenge to really learn who I am. So I just take it like bring more. Whatever issues that are going to come, I'm open to it. Like I'm open. I want to see. Let's just Pandora's box. Let's see. Bring it. I don't wish like negative karma on myself. Like, hey,
No, I hear you. And then the euphemism or the allegory towards that, or an example I could give, you know the controlled fire that the firemen, you know what I mean, with it, like, man, it's huge. It just hit me. It just hit me. So it's like whenever there's a huge fire coming, the firefighters will go ahead
yeah,
and burn places, right? They'll create a controlled burn, and whatever's been burned or whatever has been burnt cannot burn again. So when you're talking about all those downs and all the tumultuousness that you're going through, you can't get hurt more if you've already gone through it. So you welcome it
yeah,
as part of your reality, as it is exactly what shapes you.
right,
Running away from it is not going to help, right? Similar to the example again that's given about buffaloes, right? You know what they do, contrary to cows. When there's a storm coming,
mm,
right? Instead of the buffaloes running away from the storm, the opposite direction, because they obviously cannot outrun the storm, it'll catch up with them. They run towards it, which looks insane. Like you're supposed to
yeah, I didn't
go
know that.
away from it. Yeah, so they go
Crazy.
directly into it. And before you know it, they're on the other side and the storm passes. But if they were to do the opposite, like what cows would do or lost sheep, they run away from the storm, but then the storm catches up with them. And before you know it, they're running together,
Yeah,
and you stay in the storm the longest.
yeah,
So sometimes you gotta go head on with your challenges and your pain.
yeah.
What's your final take, man? After all is said and done on this realm here,
It was
what would you like to share to the actually, if you can speak to Rashad 10 years from now, 20 years from,
man.
what would you tell him?
I would tell them to just stay down for the process. Stay down and keep going. 10 years from now, if it's 10 years from now, just keep whatever you're doing, do that and more. Do more and see what else. Go search. See what else you can find. See what other nuances are around that time. And everyone here, I would just tell them, I don't care if it's 2 people watching or 1.
Yeah.
Just, take a day to yourself. Don't be negative. Don't be positive. Just be decision. All right. Do I want to go right? Do I want to go right or do I want to go left?
But whatever you do, decide.
Decide. And then don't blame no one. Don't blame someone else. Oh, I could do it, but my sister, or my boyfriend, just do it.
Just do it.
We like to use people for crutches. So don't do that.
And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, it was a pleasure.
Man, time go by fast.
I don't know how much time we've
about probably an hour.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, it was a good little conversation.
And the funny thing about it is that this is just a podcast. We did an hour. We do hours on a regular with no cameras.
I know.
Because this is regular. This is us.
4 hours. 5.
This is us on a regular day.
There's times where I looked, I was like, man, I was not supposed to talk to him that long.
I know. But it should be a point where if we see each other, we're like, oh, snap, I can't. You know what I mean? You gotta, sometimes it's okay to be like, hey, man, I know, 2 seconds and we gotta go.
Yeah, you
so we don't run away from each other.
Yeah. You start looking at your watch.
But legitimate, we literally spend 4 hours, 5 just talking.
Just talking.
On a cup of coffee.
Yep.
On that note, thank you for watching. See you on the next one. Shop.